And good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Big Cap Handicapping Show. You know what? We decided we're going to start doing some handicapping shows right before big days because we know people like to get as much information as possible. And today is the first of hopefully many shows. I got some great partners here with me today, including Chappie, who is the player development manager here at Santa Anita, one of the guys you want to know. And you want to know him because he has put together some incredible multi-race bets in the past that I know of, and he is just phenomenal. Chappie, what's happening?
How you doing, George? Feels like I just saw you on this live a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
I'm ready to roll. It looks like a great card tomorrow, and I've been doing my homework. And along with our next guest, I think we're going to have some good information. So hopefully you'll lead to a winning day tomorrow.
Our next guest always does his homework. He spends his life doing homework. He's just homework. That's all he does, but he loves it. Ryan, also known as Benny South Street from Trip Note Pros. Welcome to the handicapping seminar.
Good to be with you guys. Hope you got that one in the Golden Hour. We had a nice little 13-1 shot in the first leg of that at Golden Gate, so that was a good one. Unfortunately, I missed the first leg, and it was costly, man. I had a $25 ticket, but I singled the first leg and was out. So then I jumped in the shower like an idiot and missed my $28 horse. But
so you didn't.
We got a big day tomorrow.
Well, you didn't bet the $28 horse to win.
No, because that would have been too smart. So that was an intelligent move.
I was single to the 7 in the last race. I got your horse as well, but couldn't. My horse came in last.
I liked him as well. I liked a couple in there. So yeah, that's a bummer.
All right, well, we like a lot of stuff tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a gigantic day here at Santa Anita. We've got 11 big races, including some stakes races. We've got 5 stakes races, 2 grade 2s, 2 grade 1s, including our signature race, the Santa Anita Handicap, the Big Cap, which we'll delve into, and my favorite race that starts the mandatory payout on the Pick 6, the San Felipe, where, of course, Bob Baffert, once again, is loaded, and he does have the favorite there as he's won 6 Kentucky Derbies, so he knows how to get these 3-year-olds ready. But let's get ready for some handicapping. Let's briefly go over the first 5 races, and then we'll seriously dive into the Pick 6. And the first race is one of our stakes races, the China Doll, $100,000 going a mile, and a pretty competitive race overall. Don't you think, Chappie?
Yeah, Benny and I think we basically are going to touch on the same horse. We liked going global first time in the States for Phil D'Amato and just made a giant move and a big turn of foot. Obviously, the question here would be the first time going 2 turns. But, Benny, that was quite powerful, was it not?
No, it really was. She seems special. D'Amato seems to have the magic touch with these horses coming in from overseas and also from Woodbine recently. So I have nothing bad to say about that horse. If you're looking for a kind of a weirdo in here, you might look towards his daughter's horse. Jessica rides the 4-horse Blue Balloon and or Balloon, or however you pronounce that. And this one had a real easy trip up front. But it looks like she might get it again, and offered up a powerful gallop out into that clubhouse turn after the race. So this one will have no problem stretching out. Clearly, I think enough of her to move her up and take a shot at this stake. So that one's a little bit interesting. So a little family war going on inside those doors.
All right. Also in that first race, we got Johnny Velasquez, who's in town for, of course, the big race. And a lot of ways to go in that first race for that Pick 5. Second race, you've got Bob Baffert on the inside with Mastering. And you've got Bold Endeavor, who just ran a 1 on the third graph sheets. Another tough race, second leg of the early Pick 5. How do you like that race, Chappie?
You know, I don't have a very good feel for this race. Kershaw had a rough trip last time out, and I think should fire. To be honest with you, obviously Bold Endeavor just had a monstrous race last time, but not one of my – I don't have a strong opinion in this race. I have a little bit more of a strong opinion in the next race. But, Benny, I'll leave it up to you for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're going to knock Bold Endeavor at all, I had that track as actually slight late and slight outside last time. So was helped a little bit by the track bias, but it was a pretty facile win for that one. So can't knock him. but did have a negative on multiplier, so that one's a toss for me. Had an absolutely perfect trip, barely got home versus 235 common opponent today. But the one that intrigues me the most, if not for the drop, would have been Kershaw. So I'm going to let the price be my guide. Kershaw had just a horrendous trip last time. The flow and the pace went completely against him. He was knocked around early, got a clear view of the parking lot through the clubhouse turn and all the way around, and was still grinding away at the end. So if Kershaw's right, I think he's the correct horse. But I wouldn't be risking him either. So the tag kind of makes me waver a little bit.
What are you thinking on the sheets, George, for you?
Well, Kershaw just ran a 1 on the sheets, on the Thoroughgraph sheets. So did Bold Endeavor. So they both ran a 1, but there's some other ones in here that are pretty fast as well. I think Mastering is moving on his way up, riding a 2-race win streak. So another one with Johnny V taking over. Race number 3, they're going on the turf, 6 furlongs, a nice turf course. And Chappie, you say you like somebody a little bit in this race?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I have chased Giddy every time she has ever ran, and I'm done with her. I know she's dropping here, but to me, I thought maybe last time when she shortened up, maybe the 6.5, it hit her right between the eyes. She just has so much. She's going to have so much ground to make up, and I don't like to be Mr. Chalk, but I don't think there's any pace in here. So I like the 2 and Angel going wire to wire because I think there's no other speed in this race, and the horse is going to absolutely crawl on the front end. Unless Gypsy's doing well, there is no other speed. You guys tell me who else is going. Maybe Love and Peace, but I don't see it.
They say pace makes the race. Is Chappie right, Benny? Is this 2-ball just going to get to the lead and nobody's going to run with her?
Chappie's divorcing Giddy, and I've never been a Giddy fan, and I'm gonna wed myself to Giddy in this race. So I think that last race, I mean, if you just look at it from a pure handicapping standpoint, let's not look at numbers or class or anything. That race to me was a pure speed sharpener. Cut back off 1.25 miles. I think it was used as a race to sharpen up the speed. Pratt gets on. I think she stalks and she rolls. Got nothing bad to say with Chappie's horse that's going to make the lead. This will be an obvious lone speed trip, but will probably be over bet as a result. So I'll probably just go one in here and single Giddy in my pick 5.
All right, moving on to race number 4, and this is a maiden claiming 50,000 for Statebreds going 6 furlongs. And you got some nice fillies in here, including Ensley's Dream, who is dropping from straight maiden for Brian Carner. Pratt keeps the faith, has some of the best Thoroughgraph numbers in the race. It seems to me Ensley's Dream is going to be tough to beat, but then you got some lightly raced and some first-time starters. Who did you end up with in this? Let's go to Benny South Street first.
And I've got a massive note on our website for Pistachio Princess. Take a look at that one. It's completely eliminated at the start. And soon after she crosses over the dirt, wow, what an explosion she made. She ran up. She probably gained 6 or 7 lengths in the blink of an eye, ran up on horse's heels and stalled a little bit. But that's okay with me. I think if she corrects that mistake that she made out of the gate, she's really fast, and I don't see anything in here that can go with her. So I'm all about Pistachio Princess in race 4.
What about you, Chappie?
I'm fairly chalky, so I was with Benny there, 5 and 6. I actually cheated. I did look at his notes on this race, so I knew he was coming with the 6, and I agree.
What is the morning line? I print my notes like 4 months in advance, and I don't have the odds.
5 to 2.
5 to 2.
Is,
that's it. Okay.
That's 5 is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, the last leg of the early pick 5. Hopefully you guys will build a bankroll to start diving into that pick 6. And they're going on the turf 6 furlongs here. Option claiming 100,000 on winners one. And I really like a horse in this race, a filly called Brilliant Cut on the inside. Certainly, once this one's gotten into the Doug O'Neill barn, Doug just loved this runner. Right away, put her in a grade 2 off a claim for 50,000 in a maiden claiming, and she delivered 2 times in a row in graded stakes races. Really good thoroughgraph numbers. Some of the best thoroughgraph numbers in here. She now gets first-time Lasix, bred incredibly well for the grass. Even though it had a couple of grass races, I think that Doug O'Neill has found the answer for Brilliant Cut. And at 5-1 in the morning line, with Rosario aboard, first-time Rosario, off at a very profitable angle here at Santa Anita. I'm loving Brilliant Cut to mow them all down late. How do you like this race, Chappie?
Yeah, I could go a few different ways. I mean, I'm going to make a small case for the 5 Westward Breeze just because of the 10-1 morning line. You know, this horse won first time out, showing a lot of gas sprinting. Carla Gaines on the turf. Carla Gaines doesn't win first time out very often. Then they go right into the deep end, going 2 turns on the dirt, doesn't do a thing. And last time out, carved out massive fractions, dueling on the front end, going 2 turns. You know, they went 46-4 on the front end. I like the cutback back to the 5.5. Rispoli, first time Lasix, and you get 10-1. So I think that's a horse just to look at a price in here. And I do like some angles on your one Brilliant Cut, especially being a Speightstown on the turf. Benny?
You know, I have nothing bad to say about the one. If I were going to look anywhere else, if I like going global in the first race, there's no reason why I shouldn't be all about a couple that are running in an allowance or an optional non-winner one in this race. So for me, it's going to be either the 4 or the 6. I'll probably use them both. Nimbo Stratus ran a cracker last time. It was a strong effort. And Freedom Flyer really showed some sharp early speed versus one of my favorite horses of all time in 5 Picks Please. How can I not like that horse? One of the trips that I really hate is that going fast and stalking and turf sprints. I hate that trip, and that's what he got last time. I feel like this Tampa horse is going to clear off. This one will find the pocket and hopefully land in a good trip for this turf horse.
All right, we have made it to race number 6. That is the Rainbow Pick 6. And as advertised, it's a mandatory payout. We're expecting that pool to go over $6 million. There's some dead money in there already. It is a fantastic bet. Even if favorites win along the way, it still should pay very, very well. And it starts here in race number 6. My favorite race of the day, the San Felipe, a grade 2 worth $300,000, a mile and a 16th for these Kentucky Derby hopefuls. How do you see this race, Chappie?
All right. Well, I mean, obviously you got to start with the rail. I mean, Life is Good. It's amazing. A little side note, but you look at the workouts. 5 works in a row, this horse got a breezing. You have a better shot of seeing snow in California than you do a breezing sign on a horse, which makes it sound like this horse does everything very easily. You got to figure with him having the 1 at 4-5 and Medina Spirit on the rail and the high cruising speed of the 1, they're going to go to the lead. And then, you know, the upside, I think this has got to be Baffert's. You talked to Baffert earlier, didn't you, George?
Yes, I interviewed him earlier today.
Yeah, and I would assume he's got very high hopes for this one. I don't know what happened the last time, whether the horse is just looking around. Benny, you watched the trip notes, and I can get back to the other horses. What did you see late when Medina Spirit came out? Was the horse just goofing around, or Mikey thought he had the race one and pulled up a little bit?
You know, what nobody really talked about after that race was Life is Good didn't break well. I mean, Life is Good broke a little bit slow and then rushed 4 wide into that first turn. If it had been any other horse and it wasn't, you know, like some 1-5 or 1-9 shot, people would have been like, wow, that was such an amazing effort that this thing just cruised and held like that. This horse galloped out in front. Medina Spirit never went by him. And I've seen this before. I've seen this from Bob's runners. One of them clears, the other one runs a fullback sweep, and they go 1-2 all the way around the track because they're not going to kill each other. Life is Good is too fast. He's going to clear. The only other one that seems mildly interesting to me would be Dream Shake. That was a monster effort last time. He was geared down. He galloped out well. The times are wrong in the form. He hand-timed that race. The fractions are wrong. It's a very, very fast race. And he's legit. He's bred to go all day. It's too bad that he's going 2 turns for the first time in a grade 2 race. But if anybody can do it, I think he might be able to pull it off. For me, it's probably a single race because I think most people are not going to single. But people tend to try and survive, which I think is a mistake. I think if you have a logical one that's a likely winner, take it. And that for me is Life is Good. If you were going to play a B horse, I would go with Dream Shake and not Medina Spirit.
Yeah, I did a show with Gino Bacol last night. I basically said the same thing. That the mystery horse in here is Dream Shake. You know, like Benny said, tough to go win first time out, then go 2 turns in a grade 2 for the first time. But this horse showed such a big move and galloped out giant. And, you know, Peter Urton does not win first time out very often. This horse won on pure talent alone. And there's a lot under the hood there. This is a big ask here, but this horse, I think, has plenty of talent. Life is Good, clearly the one to beat. Medina Spirit, I don't think has the talent, but I think likes a battle and could be fighter. And after that, I'm not in love with anybody else. What are your thoughts on this race, Georgie?
Well, again, I spoke to Baffert, and he said some great performances in the past week by 3-year-olds, including Essential Quality. And he still thinks that the San Felipe is going to produce a Kentucky Derby winner. And of course, you know, what is he going to say? He's got 2 horses in there. I was expecting to see Hot Rod Charlie in here, but apparently he's going to be going in that 1.3/16 race. Seems like that should fit him well. Bob told me that he's going to send Life is Good to the front, and he's going to have Medina Spirit come from off the pace, which seems logical. Certainly, he's got plenty of speed. I asked him that many people on Twitter talked about the Life is Good race. Did he believe that maybe Life is Good was running out of gas, or was he just so far in front he was just toying with him? And Bob believes that he was definitely not running out of gas, that Mike Smith told him, look, I had the race and it was over. So if that's the case, man, it's going to be super hard to beat Life is Good in this race. Dream Shake did look impressive, but who did he beat? He beat a couple of horses that really disappointed. Bezos was in that race. Tivoli, another Bob Baffert. They didn't really run well at all. Mr. Impossible still a maiden. Harbor Memories ran today and didn't win either. So, I mean, as good as that race looked, he's still, I don't think he beat a whole lot there. And now he's trying 2 turns for the first time. I think Dream Shake's going to run well, but I'm not in love with him. The Great One's kind of interesting. Just ran a 1 for Team Doug O'Neill, won by 14 lengths. And again, he opted to run the Great One in this one and have Hot Rod Charlie, run over there at Oaklawn. So certainly, I think the Great One's got a chance. Roman Centurion ran well, but just never looked like he was going to get by Medina Spirit. Had a great setup. Medina Spirit was fighting and battling the whole way. And when Roman Centurion came up to him, he just couldn't get by. So I think Life is Good with the Hall of Famer trainer and the Hall of Fame rider is going to be a single for me in my personal pick 6.
I will say Law Professor did come back and win today, and he was all but eased in that race that Dream Shake won. Paid $42 too.
Right. Yeah, he did come back and win.
The only thing about the Great Ones race is, 1 by 14, obviously there could be something there. It was a 4-horse field. Nobody did any running in there really other than the Great One. Fenway was in there, right? Who came back.
Yeah, Fenway was in there.
Came back to do nothing again. I think that, there just wasn't much in the race, but we'll see.
Are you using more than one in your pick 6, Chappie?
I will probably do, as I usually do, I'll do 2 tickets, and my main ticket will single right off the start with Baffert, Life is Good. And I'll probably do a backup ticket using a couple in here. But for the big ticket going for the big money, I'm going to single in leg 1. Beat me, or I'm in or I'm out.
All right, and I think Benny, you said the same thing. Pretty much, you're going for a single as well. And
yeah, I think so. Yep.
I think that's the way to go. You just got to, you can't live life halfway. You can't live life scared. You got to go for it. All right, race number 7, second leg of the Rainbow Pick 6, and I am also singling in this race because I'm going single. I'm going to know right off the bat if I am going to be alive or not. I love Whisper Not in this race. I think Whisper Not, of course, looked like he was unbeatable last race and lost, but it wasn't that he didn't that he put in a bad performance. It's that Greg Dar put in a spectacular performance. Whisper Not ran a 5 on the third graph numbers. He ran as good as he did in the previous 2 races. He just got outbeat by a horse that ran his eyeballs out that day. Pratt is aboard, and Whisper Not has got class. He's got numbers. He's got great connections. I'm going to be singling Whisper Not in my ticket right off the bat. I'm going to know if I got something to cheer for or not. Chappie, how do you like race number 7?
Well, I think Whisper Not's going to be very difficult to beat. You know, the problem I had with Whisper Not last time is the horse was dueling on the front end, going 1 1/8 miles, and went 45 4 for the half. And this horse is relaxed and sat behind horses before, so I didn't understand. And I didn't go back and look at this replay again, whether he just pulled Rosario to the front or not. Benny, I know you watch many a replay. What was the visual on that one?
Yeah, he went fast. The one thing people need to also think about when in these 1.1 miles turf races in Anita is the run-up is significant. So the fractions can be a little bit deceiving. They always seem faster than they are. It's best to compare the early fractions versus the finishing time, and that'll give you an idea of just how fast they went. Turf course was fast that day. They finished in 46 and change, but he did go fast. He dueled. I think it was just a product of the stretch out, moving from 8 to 9 furlongs, and he got probably a little bit overconfident, an overconfident ride from Rosario. So he was definitely deserving of a pass, and he's a logical winner tomorrow as well.
The Rosario does leave Whisper Not, or maybe he got left and goes on to Liberal, who looked pretty good winning last time out, coming from way out of it. But if Whisper Not's not the one, it seems to be a very wide open race, Chappie.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely Spreadsville after that. I don't have any other strong opinions. I don't know if you have any notes in here, Benny. I have strong opinions going forward, but this is not one of them after the favorite again, Whisper Not.
Yeah, I don't think Rosario opted off. I think they were probably a little bit upset with the ride, and Pratt is every bit as good as Rosario, in my opinion. So I don't think that's a concern. An interesting horse for me may be the Chipper from Gulfstream, who is a first-time Drysdale horse, puts blinkers on. These horses from back east, the turf races are just stronger. He's been a lifer in this condition, the non-winner won, but some of the others are as well. These aren't exactly world beaters for the Southern California turf circuit, so he's interesting to me, and he may be a good number, and he picks up very capable rider as well. So it seems to be working well too over this training course. So he's interesting to me, and hopefully he'll be a big price. What's his morning line?
12 to 1.
There you go. That's enough for me. Take it right now, lock it up.
Rib City is also a runner that, you know, if you're looking to spread a little bit, is one that you must put an eye on. In 2020, undefeated, and first race in 2021, just lost by a nose. So this is a runner that likes to win, seems to be, you know, really gritty performer, just losing by a nose last time, despite bobbling at the break. So Rip City has been ripping off some good races, and if there's the two falters in any way, certainly Rip City is one of the ones to look at. All right, that also starts the pick 5. Now we get to our first graded stakes race, the San Carlos. They're going 7 furlongs, $200,000. You got some nice runners in here. This is a very, very competitive race. How'd you like this race, Chappie?
Well, we've been on the favorite train, and I hate to go favorite train again. And but I do like Tigre de Sluggo in here on the outside for Mike Pipey. This horse kept drawing the rail, finally goes to the outside. If you go back and watch the race the last time, Brickyard Ride, though going fast, got the lead all on his own on the front end. Tigre de Sluggo broke slowly and then was shuffled back again and really came on late for a nice second. And I think 7 furlongs is going to hit this horse right between the eyes. and also the outside draw with Rosario and Pipey again. And I know this horse is going very well. I talked to Mike Pipey today, and I think this horse is going to put in a big run, a big effort today. 5-2 morning line, I don't love it, but I think this horse is set up for a big effort today.
Certainly ran well last time and did encounter all kinds of problems, whereas Brickyard Ride just got to the lead and just said adios to the rest of the field there as they're all battling for second that day. Wonderful job. Ran a 1 on the thoroughgraph sheets that day, Brickyard Ride, but prior to that had really not run anything near as fast as that. So certainly a bounce candidate in race number 8. How do you see the San Carlos, Benny?
You know, there are a few in here that I'll be using. This is one of the spreads for me, but I see nothing wrong with Storm the Court. I think they tried him on the turf a little bit more than they should have. They realized that he's probably, I mean, he won a Breeders' Cup race going long on dirt. So I think this will suit him well. He's definitely fit. The cutback is going to serve him well. He attracts a Hall of Fame rider in Johnny V. He's going to be a use for me. I've always had a thing for Major Cabby. I've always liked this one, and he is not a need-to-lead type. He can do just about whatever he wants, and this aggressive spotting by Peter Miller is attractive to me. And usually when Pratt gets aboard for Miller, even if they don't win, they run lights out. So Major Cabby will also be a use for me. And then Manhattan Up was a little bit interesting. That 5/8 sprint at Los Al, he galloped out so far in front. It was just too far for him. I think he's probably the most legitimate closer in the race to me. I'm not a big fan of Tigre de Slugos. Am I pronouncing that right?
Sluggo.
Yeah.
Sluggo. Okay, that's right. I'm not a big fan of that one. But if he wins, I'll just make my way to Chappie's box and order a cocktail on Chappie.
No single for me in here, but I just think this horse needed an outside post and had a lot of trouble last time out. But I will do some spreading in here. Georgie, what are your thoughts?
In my pick 6, I've definitely, since I single, I'm using all of them in here, and I think a case can really be made if you go down the list on each one of them that they have every right to win. Exalted looks so good, winning for Peter Urton with Mike Smith aboard, just visually looked good. Brickyard Ride, if he repeats that last race, just a stunning performance. The two that I'm going to be concentrating on, and I'm going to certainly be playing some win money for sure, is number 8, Loudmouth. Loudmouth got into all kinds of trouble 2 back, or I'm telling you what, he would have been right there in the California Cup sprint. Came back and also encountered trouble for Steve Knapp. In spite of that trouble, still won the race last time out. In fact, he's won 3 out of 4 and has some of the best thoroughgraph numbers in the race by far. He ran a 2, a 2, a 2, a 3. Very, very fast races. And a runner I'm definitely going to be playing to win, place, and maybe pick 3s leading up to him, ending with him, as Benny Southstreet mentioned, is number 4, Manhattan Up. Manhattan Up in that race at Los Al ran a 2 on the sheets. Prior to that, ran a 3. He's got a 0 on his resume. That last race at a mile on the turf certainly should have got, should be giving him plenty of bottom. At 20-1, like Benny Southstreet said, he's going to be flying late. I love Manhattan Up's chances. The thoroughgraph numbers are strong. I like the cutback and distance. I like Manhattan Up as a win play, pick 3 play, pick everything play. At 20-1, definitely one to keep an eye on. All right, let's move on to race number 9. It's our first Grade 1 race of the day. And in this race, they're going a mile. And you got some really, really talented runners in here. This is another ridiculously tough race to try to decipher who's going to win. Let's start with you, Benny Southstreet. How did you see the Frank E. Kilroy Mile?
This is another spread race, but I'm going to go probably a little bit skinnier than the rest of my ticket. I like Hit the Road. I think Rispoli's making a mistake by leaving. He had a perfect trip last time. I mean, absolutely perfect trip. But he also absolutely jogged. I think he's just an underrated horse. This was his first race rather, in his 4-year-old campaign. So I ignore all of those figures leading up to that race. He was well meant all along. He was absolutely hammered in the Breeders' Cup. They really thought a lot of him, I believe. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been. I think the word was out on him in the juvenile turf. Man, he never took a deep breath last time, and he spotted. I think he spotted to run another good one with that race under his belt. So I like him a little bit, and I can never fault these three guys when they ship, or rather, two of them when they ship. Mont and Chad Brown runners, they're almost have to include them, which is a little bit frustrating. So I think you've got to include them as well. And I'm very curious about Count Again. Count Again's race 2 back was a monster. I mean, he roared through the stretch to win that race. He was doing the same thing last time before he pulled up. So I don't know what happened. The fact that he lands in this stake today in a Grade 1 event makes me think that it was nothing. So that's a confidence booster for me, and I see no reason why he can't repeat that performance 2 back. So he's going to be a use for me as well. But my top pick, I'll be rooting for Dan Blacker's horse, Hit the Road.
Dan Blacker, when he was interviewed before the Thunder Road, he was so excited about the chances of his colt. He felt he really had developed a lot from 3 to 4, and he certainly proved it with a simply annihilated that field. Florent Giroux takes over for Rispoli, so he ran a 1 on the thoroughgraph sheets, the best last race thoroughgraph number of anybody in the race, so he's certainly one to watch. But another one that ran a 1 was Mark Cassie's horse, Ride a Comet. DVD, one of his last races here before he leaves. And Ride a Comet, I thought, ran spectacular at Gulfstream Park. First time over from Canada. And that was a big, big win in the tropical turf, the Grade 3. There's also runners in here that got excellent thoroughgraph numbers like Chad Brown's, Flavius, and, Pratt. He likes winning these big races. He wins big races here all the time. The one, Smooth Like Straight, has been on a steady diet of graded stakes races and has always been right there. Last year, 7 starts, 4 wins in 2 seconds. So Smooth Like Straight, another tough competitor. Flying Scotsman, Jack Sisterton on the Daily Racing Form said he likes his chances a lot as well. So a very, very competitive race. I'm going to be trying to use as many as I can in this race. Chappie, how did you see this incredibly difficult edition of the Grade 1 Frank E. Kilroy Mile?
Well, you could definitely make a case for all of them. My top pick is Count Again. I love the race 2 back. The horse absolutely exploded in the lane. And like Benny touched on earlier, came back, was making that move again. Jock obviously thought something happened. They pulled the horse up. They would never come back in this spot if this horse was completely fine. And I think 12 to 1 is absolutely outrageous. The horse galloped out like a monster. Phil D'Amato is going great guns right now. And I'm in love with this horse. Hit the Road, I've always been a big fan of. And Benny touched on this. Coming back for the 4-year-old campaign the last time, the horse won it so easily, galloped out huge, 3 for 4 at San Anita. And one thing I think it makes a big difference too is this horse always sat back before and made a big run. It has a big late turn of foot. This last time out, starting the 4-year-old campaign, this horse was much more tactical early and sat about 3rd or early on. And I think the horses, a lot of times these horses get in trouble in a big field like this. And I think now if Hit the Road sits closer to the pace like he showed the last time and has a little more tactical speed, that's a big benefit. And I think this horse got a ton of talent. So to me, it's 8-2, or then you can make a case for about anybody. And Flying Scotsman could get, as Doug O'Neill goes flying down.
He doesn't have a runner in this race, does he?
I just flying on the floor when I was talking about Flying Scotsman because Jack Sisterson used to work for him. But Flying Scotsman could get, he's going to the front. There isn't a ton of pace in here. I think Smooth Like Straight will be sitting right off. But this horse could get dangerous on the front end once again at 12 to 1. But my top 2 are 8-2 in that order.
Another intriguing runner I think we haven't touched on in that race is Royal Ship, number 4. This one came with a lot of fanfare from Brazil. Was supposed to be one of the best runners to come out of Brazil in a long time, and just didn't really deliver here. But did run in 3 graded stakes races. Ran 4s on the Thoroughgraph numbers, pretty solid. And then they decided to geld him, which usually improves runners a lot. Mike Smith decides to stay on. Mandela, if you look at the layoffs for 1 month to 3 months, he wins at 32%. So a lot of positives in Royal Ship's favor as well in a race that this is where I think we're going to get great value. Make sure if you're wagering to get some value, especially in that race and in your pick 6.
Georgie.
Yeah.
Royal Ship, and I don't know what Benny thinks too. I watched the replays a couple times. Maybe the horse just needed to be gelded, like you said. There was a lot of hype behind this horse. Ran into Mo Forza twice, who's an absolute monster. But you're going to get more than 15-1. Papa Mandela, he does not throw him in. This horse has to be doing well. Going to 2 decent efforts in grade 2s, and he throws him into the grade 1 Kilroe Mile and gets Mikey Smith up. The horse could be sneaky. Maybe the gelding is what it needed.
Did you happen to see that last race, Benny, of Royal Ship? Did he get into as much trouble as the line says?
To be honest with you, it's the one horse that I did not look at because he hadn't run over the turf course in so long, and his most recent outing in November.
So the last race was on dirt, so I didn't watch that one. I watched the other 2 turf races. But
well, apparently he had some problems there, and just another one of the top contenders. Speaking of the top, we've got now race number 10, and this is our signature race, the Santa Anita Handicap. This one's a grade 1. They'll be going 1.25 miles, classic distance, and a lot of interesting things about this race. Well, first of all, part of the Rainbow Pick 6. Also starts the Golden Hour late Pick 4 that Benny almost hit today. Also, it starts a wonderful promotion that Chris Merce has put together, the $1 million Wild West bonus. So anybody who sweeps 3 races, this one, the Santa Anita Handicap, the Hollywood Gold Cup here at Santa Anita, also a grade 1, and the Pacific Classic over there at Del Mar. If you're able to sweep all 3, you're going to get a $1 million bonus. So if you win all 3, you are going to take home $1.87 million. That certainly has attracted Gold Dolphin and their big-time runner who is undefeated, Maxfield, trying to get that Wild West bonus. How do you see this race, Chappie?
Well, I mean, all roads lead to Maxfield, obviously 5 for 5, undefeated. I'm going to take a swing here. I got to go one more time back to the 6 Idol at 6-1. This horse ran a couple bang-up races, then came here and ran in a couple of pair of grade 2s for Richard Baltus. And 2 back, Saez got this horse in all kinds of trouble. Last time out, he was a little more subtle. I don't think Benny sees it quite as I do, but back at about the 3/8 pole, the horse kind of was in between horses, looked like he was loaded. He was just kind of idling, but he kind of let the horse go up in between horses and kind of didn't check off the heels, but just kind of lost his momentum. Idol's a big horse, and I don't think it can stop and start as well, but I think there's a lot of talent here. And I just don't love the rides on that horse. And I think now at 6-1, Rosario taking control. I'm going to take one more shot. And I think there's some more under the hood here for Idol. So that's going to be my top pick.
Idol certainly looked good. At the end there, he really started coming on late a little bit. So Idol it was a weird run race. But out of that race, Express Train came out, and he certainly looked like an express train. He was really sweaty that day. I thought maybe he's not going to be able to deliver. Usually that's a negative sign to see a lot of moisture on a runner's neck. And he was sweating profusely. But, man, that didn't stop him at all. He looked fantastic for J.J. Hernandez, and certainly one of the ones to keep an eye on. Both him and the Idol come out of that same San Pasquale. Just ran fantastic, both of them. So did Tiz the Magician, who impressed me as well. So a tough race. How do you see this race? The grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap, the big cap, Benny South Street.
Well, from a pace perspective, it looks obvious, right? So Tis Magician goes, Independence Hall tracks. So those two are going to have a nice advantage versus the others because it's a $400,000 race. They're not going to hook up and kill each other because even if they get beat, they want to slice the pie, right? So I think these two just step out. I expect Pratt to cede the lead to Tis Magician and get a nice stalking trip, which makes him interesting. He just chased one of the best handicap horses in the country in Nick's Go. So I suppose he's one I will not be leaving off my tickets. Maxfield's also a little bit obvious. I think he's going to be a pace casualty. But I'm also kind of peeking a little bit at Coastal Defense. Gulfstream is a weird track. Horses get along with it or they don't. So I'm going to draw a line through that race. His race at Churchill was actually very, very good. He got left. He had some pausing that he had to deal with, and he ran just fine up the rail. It tracks Johnny V. I'm not a big fan of this trainer. I think he can be a little bit unreliable at times, but he's probably going to be a big number, and he gets blinkers also, which might be a big bump. One thing to note, like these horses or not, I did have the January 30th day as a strong outside track. So I've actually upgraded Tis a Magician a little bit based off of that. And I've also upgraded, although he did rally down the center of the track, Express Train, because he was tucked in for most of the race and on the slower inside. So just a little piece of information there for anybody that's listening. But probably, if you put a gun to my head, Independence Hall would be my top pick.
You know, Georgie, I've been trying to make a case, and that's interesting you say that, Benny, for Tis a Magician for the last 12 hours because this horse is going to get such an easy lead. But Tis a Magician's kind of had it his own way the last 3 races in a row. So as much as he's going to get an easy lead, and I like the 12-1 price, I just think he's just a notch below these horses.
I love the Thorograph sheets, and so you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Tis Magician's best Thorograph number ever was a 5.
But keep in mind though, I mean that's fair, but he's always in front and he's always got the shortest path to freedom. So his numbers are always going to be a little bit deflated versus somebody that's coming wide. That's
true, but
yeah, five's getting a little bit. That's a little.
I mean, you got runners in here. Independence Hall just ran a -2, so he would have to just sort of
get on the back of the bus and ride.
Yeah, and Maxfield. I mean, just hats off to Godolphin, Sheikh Mohammed, Al Maktoum. I mean, they're winning. They got Essential Quality winning. Antoinette won. Mystic Guide won. I mean, they're just on a roll that's just unbelievable. And there's that saying, they're here for a reason, not the season. Florent Jaloux, that race, it seems like he came from out of it. He was like, wow, what a deep closer. He was 11 lengths out of it. But he's really not. He was right on top of the group that was second, third. So the real race was right behind that. That was just a runoff that had no chance. If you look at Maxfield's race before that, he was second. He was right there. He was only a couple of lengths out over there at Churchill Downs. This is not necessarily a deep closer. I think it's you see that last race and you go, wow, 11 lengths out of it. It's because the winner, the front runner was 10 lengths in front. So he made a bold move despite breaking slow. Ran a -2 on the sheets. I think for me in my pick 6, I am definitely singling Maxfield, and if he wins, he wins, and I win. But if he loses, well, then I'm out.
What do you want your thoughts in on the sheets on the 3 Kiss Today Goodbye?
The Kiss Today Goodbye after Independence Hall best sheet numbers. He ran a 0, a 2, a 1. He's got some stellar Thorograph numbers on Kiss Today Goodbye. So a big race in the Grade 1 at Gulfstream Park, like you said, behind Nick's Go, and Independence Hall was in that race as well. And Independence Hall also ran against Charlatan, so all of these, they're here for a reason. This is a grade one. These are some of the better horses in the country. But I think Maxfield is a standout, gotten better and better with each and every race, and should be tough. But any little mishap, you got some runners ready to take over. All right, before we get to the last race, thank you guys so much. Benny Southstreet, tell us about Trip Note Pros before we get to the last race.
Well, just head there. It's self-explanatory. TripNotePros.com is the web address. I write trip notes on a couple major circuits. Right now we're doing Gulfstream and Santa Anita. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to be throwing in Aqueduct as well. They got a big card there tomorrow. But, we're looking for things that normal trip handicappers usually do not identify. And those two things are horse comfort and jockey intent. So the obvious trouble lines, they're bet into the pools. The information shows up on the tote board. It's not valuable information. But if you can kind of play jockey for a little bit and try and get into their heads and identify what it is that they were doing, a lot of times you can fall into some good information. For example, we had a horse today, the horse that paid $42. To me, it just looked like an obvious prep. The horse showed speed, but they didn't try early. He was in behind, and they just absolutely dropped anchor in the stretch. So if you can kind of connect the dots a little bit, there's nothing in that trouble line that says the horse was troubled and there was a show of talent, but it was the way in which that jockey rode the horse that identified that winner for me. So TripNotePros.com is the address. Appreciate the plug. If you go to SantaAnita.com and head to Handicappers, hit the bottom link. We've got golden hour notes every day for the golden hour sequence between Santa Anita and Golden Gate.
And I think, Georgie, like the last probably 3 or 4 golden hours in a row, the Trip Note Pro guys have had like $20, $30 winners. Haven't you, Benny?
Today kind of made me puke a little bit because I was upset that I missed, I played a significant one. It was $25 and singled the first leg, didn't want to use 2 or more in a 4-horse field. So singled, missed, threw my hands in the air, got to looking pretty for you guys, and I forgot about my horse in the Golden Gate race, and he wired the field at 13-1. And TQ and Michelle, you were talking about, hey, don't sleep on this one. This could be a live horse, and they wrote all kinds of stuff about him, and I missed him myself. So feeling pretty stupid right
now. Before we move on, I also want to thank San Manuel, who is our sponsor, who's sponsoring the day tomorrow and sponsors us all year long. I know it's a great place to go play poker, slot machines, just a lot of fun to go to San Manuel. So we want to thank them for presenting a huge day here at Santa Anita for us tomorrow. Also, don't forget, if you go to santanita.com, you'll get those Trip Note Pros notes. Also, if you go to santanita.com, we've got the free PPs for tomorrow. There'll be a link in there that you can go to our website. You get based past performances absolutely free. Also, on my Twitter account, I'll put the link to the free PPs as well, because you definitely want to get in there and dive in and handicap, because tomorrow you could turn that 20-cent minimum bet into some serious money. Tomorrow there's some wide open races, as we've discussed here. So definitely look into getting those free PPs, courtesy of Santa Anita. Go to santanita.com. You get those Equibase ones. All right, final race of the day, the Get Out race. This is a race that a lot of people are going to be biting their fingernails. A lot of people are going to be alive, I think, to this. It's not going to be, one single ticket or anything. I think this is an exciting race. A lot of youngsters in here. And how did you see this race? Let's start with Benny in race 11.
I love this race. There's a few that are going to be hammered, and they're legitimate, and they could win. Those are probably be both Baffords and then Mr. Impossible. Mr. Impossible just ran lights out last time. That's that Dream Shake race that produced that winner today at 20-1. He showed speed. He dueled the whole way. after being troubled early. It was an absolute blast off. Like I mentioned, those fractions are wrong. He went a lot faster than that. They finished faster than that. He's legit. However, I think Epidemic has talent. He had a start, a stop go on 2 different occasions in that race. He's got some talent, and he heads to a dirt course that he was working very, very fast over. So the turf race, the troubled turf debut is a toss for me. I believe he's fast. Edwin Sticks, he's interesting to me. I also think the outside horse is interesting. Same race, drew what is, in my opinion, the best rider in the country in what was a very live race. There were some runners in there. Pratt landed on this one. So while it doesn't, on paper, look like there was much there, he was going just fine at the top of the lane and was right in behind, and he just ran like a tired horse. He came back absolutely doused in throwback. So Ellis has always had a thing for Valdivia. They've got a great partnership. He climbs aboard. I think that one's an interesting long shot. And then, there's another one in here that just happened to chase Medina Spirit in First Class Dad. So the bug gets up again. This horse has got to be dead fit. He's forging, and he's a little bit interesting to me as well. So those are 3 that I'll be looking at. I do think the logicals can win. But if I'm live, I can always put those on top and back up my 3 in an exacta. So that's what I'm looking to. Hopefully I'm live, and all I've got to do is run 1-2, and I can make a score.
I am, maybe a little bit chalky, but I'm just going to be using 4 runners in here. I'm going to be using both Baffords, according to Toby Terrell, who has a wonderful, that yellow sheet. You go to casetherace.com. Toby Terrell, I believe the best clocker in the country. He said that Following C is just doing phenomenal, and he has clocked a lot of these runners in this race. He loves Following C. Bob Baffert is just spectacular with first-time starters. And even though Mr. Impossible and some others have already run, and certainly Mr. Impossible looked very well, I'm looking for a first-time starter, and it wouldn't be surprising to see this son of Run Happy in the Run Happy winner's circle when the race is over. Defunded, I thought, had, just didn't look great on debut, but now is gelded since that day. Gets Rosario. I think that's a strong tip of the hat that Defunded is going to run well at a really good price at 6-1. Mr. Impossible I'm going to use for sure, who's just has the best thoroughgraph number of all the ones that have run. As you mentioned, ran into Concert Tour, ran into Dream Shake. So certainly Mr. Impossible is the one. But my top pick is a runner that I've had success with this angle before and with these connections before. JMS Stables, number 3, Patron de Oro. This one has that angle that we love betting, where if a runner gets 20 times the stud fee at auction, it's someone that you should pay attention to. Stud fee for this one, $15,000. They paid $300,000. 20 times the stud fee. Nominated for the Triple Crown. Working bullets, working phenomenally. Brian Coroner certainly knows how to get a runner ready to win first time out. And I think when Pratt leaves a horse like you mentioned, like Chaos Reigns for Ellis, who ran, certainly decently, to go to this first time starter, that says a lot to me as well. So Pratt ends up on this one. And for me, Patron de Oro, owned by JM, it's going to be JM Yes, not JMS. It's going to be JM Yes after the race. And hopefully we'll win the race. 11th race, the get out race, the final leg of the Pick Six. Chappie, I've seen you put together some spectacular multi-race bets through the years. I remember one time you had it correct for like $32,000. You singled the 6 in one particular race, but somehow you pressed the 5 by mistake, and the 6 won, and you would have had 32 grand. But you've done this so often. You really are impressive to me with your multi-race, the way you put tickets together. So last race, hopefully you'll press the right buttons. Who do you like in the last, Chappie?
The sick thing about that is that then I was just rooting against that horse because I knew I had it wrong. And somebody who had been drinking way too many Coors Lights all day said, well, why don't you just bet the horse to win? I'm like, I can't get 32,000 to win on it. I'm going to root against it. The horse was like 6-1, absolutely jogged. So, and I know exactly who it was, but I won't name names. Anyways, you guys pretty much named. I'm gonna spread in this race. You guys pretty much talked about every horse that I'm gonna use. I actually singled Epidemic in a pick 3 the last time. So the first time out, this horse, and I thought, oh, Maldonado's up. I hate the rail, but he's going to break well. The horse completely missed the break. 30-1, got to use it. It's going to show a lot more speed. I agree with the outside, Chaos Reigns. That horse has got talent. I think that Dream Shake race, maiden race, is going to turn out to have a very productive race. I think they gave it one. The horse had some tactical speed, just kind of let it run. Ron Ellis does not get him ready to go first time out. I love drawing the outside now. At 12-1, you got to use that horse. The two Bafferts, very interesting. If you go to xbtv.com, they worked with each other the last time, Defunded and Following C. Basically worked head and head. I'd say if you watch the way they worked, I would give Following C a little bit better of a work than Defunded, but they were basically head to head. Defunded has kind of some high leg action, so maybe look for that horse on the turf down the road, but they both have a lot of talent. And Benny talked about First Class Dad ran second to Medina Spirit. The only other one I would use that you guys haven't talked about, I got to go back and look at the works, is the 8 Aurelian Man for Doug O'Neill. Horse ran third, granted being on the turf back in October, but both horses came back to win. It ran first and second in there. And first time Lasix, I did not catch a workout yet on that horse, but I'm basically 7 deep in here to close. My two bombs would be the two he mentioned, the 2 and the 12. And Following C can clearly run. I think it was a little bit better than Defunded in the last work. Like I said, go to xbtv.com. You can watch them both work together, which was back on March 1st.
So real quick, I'm going to take this show off the rails. You had a $32,000 miss punch. I sent my buddy down to Del Mar once to play the pick all, and he got shut out. They wouldn't take his bet because he didn't fill out a ticket, and literally the place was empty. There was no one around. He wanted to call off the bet. He had to go buy a voucher. He was punching it in. He got shut out. So of course, what happens? He's 8 for 8 with one race to go. I said, oh, but before the last race, I said, just go bet the double. Yeah, just go bet the double. So he goes to bet the double. The horse wins the first race and runs second in the last race, which would have had us hit the pick all, which paid $32,000. That's what jarred my memory. And of course, what happened? He crumples up his ticket, he throws it in the trash, and he's walking away. They throw up the marker. There's an inquiry. They take down the winner, put up our horse, and he's digging through the trash, covered in relish and ketchup and mustard. Never found the ticket. So he lost like a $1,500 ticket on top of it. It's just hilarious. So that's what you get for shutting me out. You deserve to be covered in mustard.
George, we should just have one bad beat episode where we just talk about all of our DQs and missed punches. That could go for 7 hours.
I was in charge of a group when I was working with group events, and I was hanging out with the group, and this lady and her husband, they were so drunk. They were incredibly drunk, but they had a ton of money. She was betting like crazy. So she bet $2,000 to show on a horse, the number 3 horse. And the horse comes in second. So after the race, I come up to her, hey, you did a good job. So what are you talking about? The horse came in second. I threw it in the trash. And I was just like, I was like, what? I dug through that trash. And sure enough, the ticket was there. It was like, whoa. So I know about getting mustard on my hands as well. All right. My pick, I'm just going to give you an idea. My pick 6 ticket is going to be $72. So it's not that expensive. I'm going to be going 1 with 2 with all, with 2 with 3, 4, 10, 11. So that ticket comes out to $72. for you guys that are listening. And hopefully we'll get that home. I don't know if you guys have a ticket to give out or if you still going to wait to see some final odds tomorrow. But that's the ticket I'm giving out, and hopefully it'll win.
I'll tweet one. I'll tag this and tweet one. I don't have one. You know, one of the things I do is I scroll through the Santa Anita followers, and I like to know my audience. And I noticed there were like 4 IRS agents in there, so I try to be careful with giving out my plays in public. But I'll tweet one out tomorrow.
I'm still working on it, George.
All right, sounds good.
One of my tickets will be single to start, and I always like to play one ticket where I have a bomber in there. I will play some sort. It might not be the pick six, some type of a ticket where I single count again at 12-1 in the 9th race.
That sounds good. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. We hope you guys learned a lot, and hopefully you can put that to good use tomorrow. Definitely go to tripnopros.com and get that fantastic work that Benny Southstreet does. Chappie?
Sorry, real quick. So tomorrow morning on AM 8:30, the Morning Line Sports Show from 8 to 9, 8:30 a.m., we are going to have Bob Baffert on.
Fantastic.
So we will ask him about not only the tactics, which you said already in the San Felipe, but we will ask him about the first time starter, the 2 running in the last race following seeing defunded. So sorry about that, George.
Definitely tune into Chappie's show every Saturday morning, and it's on AM 8:30, the Morning Line Sports Show, and he's got Seminar Skip on there, who's one of the better bettors here, betting live money, and Hal, who was on American Bandstand. That's what I can say about Hal. And
Is that true?
Yeah, that's what he says. We don't have any proof. There's no evidence.
It's got to be true. It's got to be
Benny, he swears he is. Now, we've told him if he ever gives us footage that we will give him a $100 voucher if he proves he's on Bandstand. But he says, Dick Clark has all the rights to it, so he can't release it. I actually think it's true, but
it's not something you just make up. That's not.
No,
that's not
right, exactly.
So I would have to go. I'd have to bet on that one.
Bandstand Hal.
That's
all right. We're going to try to do these seminars before big days in the future as well. Hopefully, it was well received, and we want to thank once again all of you fans for making our meet so successful. We want to thank San Manuel, who sponsors tomorrow, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the Run Happy Winner Circle. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.